Okay, thank you very much again for coming to today's Sanskrit class. And today is our 12th, it's our 12th Sanskrit class. As I have mentioned earlier in our group chat, we're going to talk about Sanskrit participle. Yeah. So we start with grammar today. 13次吧? I'm not sure. Yeah. Is it 13 or 12? Yeah. I'm not sure. Probably you can check it. 13. Okay. It's already 13. Wow. We have done quite a lot. Yeah. Oh yes, you're right. Yeah, it's 13. Yeah. It's really remarkable that we already 13. Yeah. Okay. So as I have explained earlier, for the grammar, we are going to talk about Sanskrit participle, which I guess most of you have already learned in the Sanskrit class by Mr. Zhao last week, I think. Yeah. And he mentioned Sanskrit participle, and there are actually a lot to say, but I just want to highlight the most important things and compare the Sanskrit material with other languages. Yeah. Okay. And for the next part, we are going to probably read another Rigveda verse. Yeah. It's also selected from the fourth mandala. Yeah. And actually, we are going to as you have already seen, we already have the regular classes for Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, and Tocharian, and for the occasional or the not regular, irregular classes for Germanic, Slavic, and Hittite. Yeah, and probably for the future classes, we can combine Iranian to our Sanskrit class, because they are pretty related. Yeah. So probably in the future, we are going to combine Sanskrit with Avestan. Yeah. So this is actually my plan. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And yes, and so I think we can start. So for the grammar, I think. Oh, sorry. What happened? So for the grammar, I just takes the information from the Stentner grammar. Well, it's Chinese, but it's fine. You just need to recognize the Devanagari forms. Yeah. So as you have seen, I put the grammar here, and then I write it here. So for this part, it's about the present participle, right? Yeah. And it is built with this suffix. And this is what you have already learned, right? And there's also another, I think he mentioned here. So you check it. This is a suffix T, and let's try noisy also. I have to close the window. Okay, so this is. So you have the information here. So this is a suffix T, but in the bracket, there's another form called at. Yeah. So you find it. Sorry, find it find it like this, right? Yeah. Okay. And also, you have the strong forms like like ant, right? Ant, yeah, ant, yeah. And then you have that another form like this one. Yeah. Okay, and then it can be used also for the actually this form nt, not only for present but also for future. Yeah, also for future. Yeah, and actually not only for future but also for other forms like causative. You can also use this nt. This is actually active, right? Yeah. Okay. And then there's a interesting form. It's called the middle participle with mana or māna. This retroflex is just caused by the phonetic or the phonological context. Yeah, so it's basically the same thing. Yeah. So this is for active, and for the present participle middle, we have another form. It's called mana, right? And I just write mana here. This is with retroflex. I have explained it's just a variant in a different phonological context, right? Yeah. Like if you have a retroflex, or if you have a r before, and you it will be changed to a retroflex, right? Yeah. And then this is this is a feminine, so it's basically I think you all know that feminine. You have a long a, r, right? Yeah. Okay. And then there's another form called ana. This form, there's another form called ana, right? Okay, so this is basic. And then there's something irregular called as, and for us you have asina, right? So there's irregular. So there's another irregular form for us, and us means seat. It is really seat. Yeah, it's a durative. It's a durative seat. Yeah. And I have explained a little bit about the word for seat in Indo-European languages. Yeah. Okay. And for this root, you have the middle participle like asina. So look like this. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So for some of you, it might look a little bit chaotic, right? Chaotic. Yeah. They look. How can they be related with each other, right? And we're going to talk about today. Yeah. And there's also a perfect, right? So this is perfect participle. Yeah. And this is also active, right? So the form is vas. So you have the form vas. Yeah. Okay. And this vas, it has some variants, right? I think it's not written here. Here, I find it here. Like for this root, kr, and you build the perfect. It's called chakra, and pay attention. This is the weak stem. The weak stem. So kr, yeah, chakra. And then you have the participle called chakra vas, right? But this is not the only form. You also have a variant called chakru. Yeah. So this is another form. Yeah. Okay. And lastly, I think we also you have already seen these two suffixes. It's called ta and na, right? Okay. And there's another ta and na. Sorry. No. And we're going to talk about them as well. Yeah. So let's probably okay. So the so now Stentler is the information in Stentler I have already summarized here. So you're not going to read Chinese now, and we're going to read German now. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about these various different forms. Yeah. Well, this is the present participle active, and so now probably comes a question: why do we have these different forms? Yeah. Why? Yeah, because it has something to do with upload. Yeah. So actually, in Sanskrit, if you find different stems in one paradigm, different forms, but they look similar, it always goes back to upload. 就是如果你们在一个词的变形当中会看到像这种变形，就是不同的变体，看起来又比较有关系，那一般是回归到这个元音变换，就是所谓的 upload 上面。那为什么会呢？So why? So now let's talk about it. Yeah. So the original form is actually nt. So you keep in mind, if you want to remember one thing, and this is a thing you need to remember. So this is a basic form. This is a basic form. And for this basic form, how can we get all this? Yeah. So for the basic form, the participle, the present participle is added to the semantic stem. So this is added to the semantic stem. Like to bar, this is the root, and the semantic form is bar. This is the semantic, right? And for bara, right, and you put barant, this is actually the basic form, yeah, right? And then if we have, so this is semantic, right? So this is semantic. So bar is semantic. So it's first present, right? But what about asymmetric, like dvesh, yeah, like this word, dvesh, yeah. So we need to use, so this is asymmetric, right? So asymmetric. So for the asymmetric, there's no semantic vowel, right? No semantic. So asymmetric means no semantic vowel, right? So for no semantic vowel, you always have a like a consonant, right? So the stem, so no semantic vowel means stem ending in consonant, right? Consonant. This makes sense, right? So dvesh, you have dveshti, right? Okay. So stem ending in a consonant. So take a look. If we have a stem, right? So the stem, but the stem has a consonant after this. So consonant after this. And then, as I have said, you put the basic form after it. So you put the basic form after this, and you have this structure, right? And again, this goes back to something I talked about a long time ago. So for this structure, you have 3 consonants, and it is actually not allowed, and you need to make it speakable or pronounceable, right? So you need to change this one into a vowel, right? And then you have the result of art. This is actually the logic of nt and art. Yeah, they are related because it's kind of an upload. Yeah. Okay. And in different contexts, right? So this is actually asematic. You have, so in asematic, you have a at, right? And for the sematic, you have a ant. This is basically the reason behind this. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then let's move to something a little bit complicated. So this is 这个大家能明白吗？我还需要用中文解释一遍吗？就是这个应该能明白，就是我觉得就算我不解释，可能之前也有很多人知道的，对吧？就是 ant 和 at 的差别。OK， 好。Yeah, okay, let's move to this part. This is actually a little bit complicated and needs some explanation. So this middle participle is actually PIE-age. So it is really ancient. It has, so this participle is found in a lot of Indo-European languages, not only Sanskrit. So probably we can have some interaction. So now comes the question: in which language or which languages we have this middle participle? So first one, Greek. Second one, Tocharian. Third one, Latin. And fourth one, Slavic. And fifth one, Baltic. Yeah. So, or sixth one, Iranian. So, yes, multiple choice. Yeah. So, tell me your answers. So, in which languages do we have this form? Yeah. Okay. 1, 5, 6. One, 2, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And do you have any? Does anyone have other answers? Yeah. Okay. So this except 3 and 4, right? Except 3 and 4. Okay. Greek, Tocharian, Baltic, and Iranian, right? Okay. Yes. So I think we can. Make it one by one. So in Greek, what about the middle participle? Oh, sorry. So what about Greek? Let's check probably the Greek grammar. It's not complicated, right? So let's check the Greek grammar. I think you find it like in every, almost in every Greek textbook. So probably we can check the these forms, right? So let's search probably middle. Middle participle. It's not a middle participle, right? Probably participle is not included in this chart. Yeah. How can I find it for you? Yeah. I think I can just tell you. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. Because Greek is pretty simple. Yeah. In Greek, actually, we have we have this one. Or probably we can. Let's do it again. So middle participle. Yeah. 谁那边有点吵？你需要把声音关掉吗？谁的声音啊？我需要把它关一下吗？没有了。可以，那我们继续吧。Okay. So if you check the grammar intensive course, you find the form here, right? 没事 okay. So let's so you find it here. 没关系。So you find the middle participle in the textbook. It's called omenos, or amenos, or menos, right? So it's actually menos, right? Okay. And what about Tocharian? So for the Tocharian, also we can also check the Tocharian grammar. Wait a minute. So the Tocharian. So for the Tocharian grammar, we need to check this book, right? I think you all know that Tocharisch is Elementarbuch, right? So let's check participe, right? Check it, participe praeteriti and participe presentis medii. So it's actually in page 157. Yeah. Okay. Wait a minute. Why? Participe. Participe, right. So it's page 184. Yeah, sorry, 184. I think I need to. 电脑有点热，我打开风扇了，希望不会有太大噪声。Okay, so let's move to this part. This part is about the participe presence, active, and medium, right? And for the medium participe, 没什么声音吗？那最好。So for the medium participe, there are some examples like this one. So let's check it. There's one called nesa-mane, right? And this is Tocharian B. And let's check Tocharian A. Tocharian A is called nas-māṃ. Nas-māṃ, yeah, right. So again, we have this one. Okay. Latin is a little bit complicated. We're going to talk about it later. Yeah. And Slavic, unfortunately, there's nothing like this. And Baltic, we also have this, and I'm going to show you later. And for Iranian, let's take okay. Okay, now let's check Iranian. And for Iranian, let's take Avestan as an example. So for the Avestan, let's check the textbook. Oh, okay. Well, so for Avestan, let's check the textbook by Hoffman and Benhart. I think you all know which textbook I talk about, right? So this is a textbook by Karl Hoffmann and Bernhard Forssmann, right? It's called Avestische Laute- und Flexionslehre. So let's check again Partizip. Yes, you find it. Wait a minute. Yes. Check it. So for Partizip, the media Partizip, ana and na. So for Avestan, the case is again ana and na. Yeah. Okay, so for this part, probably first you all know at least Greek, we have it, right? So at least the Greek, we have it, mενος, and Tocharian, we also have it, and Avestan, it's pretty clear. And Baltic, we also have it, but we can probably check the book by Michael Weiss. Wait a minute. Oh. Or probably the grammar by Wagner. So for the advanced Sanskrit grammar, of course, we need to check this book called Altindische Grammatik, and we need to check the second volume, second part. So second volume or second band has two parts. The second part is especially for the suffixes, nominal suffixes. And this māna is also considered as nominal suffixes because it can build a nominal or an adjective. Yeah. Okay. And let's move to the section on māna. So there's a, I think you have the PDF file, right? So this is a book, and let's check it. So this māna, yes. So this is actually the section about the historical linguistics. So let's read some German, right? So Māna hat in keiner der verwandten Sprache eine lautliche genaue Entsprechung. So Māna has no exact correspondence, genaue Entsprechung, exact correspondence phonologically, yeah, lautlich, yeah, phonological, 就是语音学上面。In no other related languages. So pay attention. So the expression is really the expression is really careful. It's called lautlich genaue Entsprechung. It means that there are actually some correspondences, but the correspondence, the phonological correspondence, is not really exact. Yeah. So let's take a look. Aber es hängt etymologisch zusammen mit funktionell gleichwertigen Bildung. So it's actually etymologically connected, and they have the same function. Funktionell, gleichwertig, so same value or same function. Yeah. Okay, so this is the example. In AV, it's called Avestan, mh₁no, and we have already seen it, right? So mh₁no is here. We checked out in grammar. And also māna, wo nur graphische Varianten. So this form māna in Avestan is probably only a graphic variant. So it's by writing, yeah. And then we have the example like bad mh₁no, so getragen werdend, heightened, so carrying, yeah, right, riding, yeah. And then nesa-mane, called betten zu. So it's actually related with the Sanskrit word for yach, for sacrifice, right? Nesa-mane, yeah. Like bitten, like betten. Okay. And then he also mentioned a Greek form called nesa-mane, yeah, and in Avestan it's called Tocharian. So this is a very interesting correspondence because the Greek nesa is actually etymologically connected with chaish, yeah, yeah, Tocharian, right? Okay. And then let's move on. So this is a Greek example called lü or menos, yeah, and lys or menos, and so on, yeah. And also take a look. We have in Latin, there's a Latin form called alumnus. Yeah. So alumnus means 车领. 车领 means 被抚养的人. So one who was brought up. Yeah. 车领. I can check the meaning for you. Yeah. So 车领. Border, pupil. Yeah, it means pupil. 车领, a Kind or ein junger Mann, die in einem Heim oder Internat erzogen werden. So it means that someone, especially a child, who was brought up, erzogen, who was brought up in a house. Yeah. Okay. So this means车领, right? So Latin alumnus, yeah. So let's take this example, alumnus, right? And as I have explained earlier, you probably know Latin u goes back actually to or, right? You probably know that for the Latin class, or turns into a u. Yeah. Okay, and then Altplusisch. So this is Baltic. Altplusisch. So Old Prussian, yeah. Old Prussian, yeah. 古普鲁士语, yeah. So there's a form called Pokrausimanas, yeah. So Pokrausimanas, we also have the form here. So it's also mana, right? Okay. And it means erhört, yeah. So erhört, yeah. Erhört means heard, 听到, right? And then mh₁no, well, we can, I'm not familiar with this word, but we can probably move on. In Armenian, there's also a form. Actually, we can add Armenian here. So in Armenian, we have a form called gitum, and gitum comes from wheat, so mh₁no, right? Yeah. Yeah. So in Avestan, in Armenian, there's a very strange, or not really strange. It actually has parallels. So in Armenian, there's a sound change called w turns into a g at the beginning of the word. So wheat turns into a g, git. Yeah, and this sound change has parallel in Cotonese. Yeah, so it's also found in Cotonese. Yeah, okay. 就于田语当中，我们也有这种音变。对 ，OK。sorry， 我写对，没写错，对吧？我抖哥，我以为我自己写反了。OK， and then comes Tocharian. So Tocharian, we have already seen this. Mane and mh₁, right? Mh and mane, yeah. And Baltic, but Slavic, we only have a mo. In Slavic, we have a mo, but this mo is not the same as meno. But probably someone can argue, but it's not that obvious. Yeah. Okay, so there's another more, but more is a little bit dubious. Not really. So I mark it as. So probably I can mark it a little bit like this. But it's not really for sure. Yeah. So as you can see, we actually have 起飞了，好吧 ，OK. So actually, you can see this middle participle is widely attested in Proto-Indo or in Indo-European languages, in Greek, Tocharian, Latin, Baltic, Iranian, Armenian, right? Okay. And then, since they are attested in so many languages, and we can reconstruct and explain, and with the reconstruction, we would probably be able to explain the forms in Sanskrit, right? Okay, and before we move on to the reconstruction, probably we can check the grammar by Goto. Yeah. So let's move to the part about participle by Goto. Yeah. So Goto mentions also in his book in chapter 382. Yeah. So let's check this part. Yeah. So this is the part we are going to talk about. Yeah. So let's repeat the situation in Sanskrit. So in Sanskrit, we actually have different forms, right? The first one is called māna. You probably all know. We have already seen, right? And this māna has a variant, right, called ana, right? And for this ana, we also have a variant called ina, like in us, right? In asina, right? And then there's a fourth category, which is mentioned by Goto. It's called, there's another form called amina, be preserved in Middle Indo-Aryan. So Middle Indo-Aryan is actually Middle Indic. So if you check, I think in Pali, right? Okay, but we can check it later. Yeah. So there's another variant called mina. Probably we can check it now. So it's attested in Middle Indo-Aryan. So for the Middle Indo-Aryan, probably first we can check the Pali, right? So for Pali, which textbook can we use? Of course, there are several, right? And we first can check oblis, right? Yeah, oblis is probably, but I don't have the PDF of this book. So actually in 2019, I already have shown you, there's a new edition, but I only have the older one. So let's probably check the older one. It's called, the book is called A Grammar of the Language of the Theravada Tipitaka, right? But I don't have the, wait a minute. I need to find a searchable version. Wait a minute. I think this is searchable. Yeah, this is searchable. So this is the cover of the book called Grammar of the Language of the Theravada Tipitaka. So let's check the. How to see. So this is the present participle in untold end. So this is already something we know, and then. Yeah, as you can see, we have already seen that the future participle has a similar form, like sayanta, lying. Yeah, in Sanskrit it's called shaya or the shaye, yeah, lying, and hananta, killing, right? So you can also, and then for the middle, right? For the middle participle, the suffix is called mana and ana. Right, yeah, okay. Yeah, so actually in Pali, we don't have the form. We will have the form like in Sanskrit, mana and ana. And then what can we do? Let's check the let's check the grammar by Feng Yu Ba. Yeah, this is a book by Feng Yu Ba called Das ältere Mittelindische im Überblick. Yeah. So again, let's check Partizip. Partizip, right? Numbers, page 309, right? Yeah, okay. So now we have the information. So if you check the book by Feng Yu Ba, he also mentioned, right? So for the active, so in Pali, as we have already seen, in Pali, the form is again mana, right? But take a look. In den östlichen Ashoka-Inschriften und in der Ada Magadhi findet sich ein Partizip des Presence of mina, like para, ka, ma, minena. You find it in the Ashoka inscription in this book. Yeah. So now comes a question. In Pali, we have mana, right? So can anyone tell me Pali is a Western dialect or an Eastern dialect? Pali. One or two. Pali is a Western dialect or an Eastern dialect? Okay, two different answers. Yeah. Okay, so is there any other information? Yeah. Yes, Pali is a Western dialect. Yeah. Pali is a typical Western dialect. Yeah. And for the difference between Western and Eastern, we can talk about it later. Yeah. So there are typical sound changes in Western dialects. Like in Western dialects, the three sibilants, 就是三种那个思音, will all go back to they all become 四, right? And for the Eastern dialect, all become 是, yeah. So this is the biggest difference between Western, or not the biggest. I mean, one of the important differences between Western dialect and Eastern dialect. Yeah, and there's also other there's also other differences. Okay, but pay attention to this one. Yeah. So for this ending, Mina, it is attested in Eastern Ashoka inscription. So like Eastern Middle Indic. Okay, now comes something difficult, a difficult question. Yeah. Probably I should put it here, difficult. What is the, how to say that? How should I put it? Yeah. So which one is more, or which one is older? Yeah. So put it simple. Yeah. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And can you tell me which one is older, or which ones are older? Yeah. So you can choose one, or yeah. So you can think about it, and let's make a stop, and then we can move on. Yeah. 就是这个是课间休息的那个问题。So let's make a stop, and you can think about it. So and then I stop recording, and we will talk about it later. Then okay, so I have talked about so as you have already seen, we have checked the middle participle in the other Indo-European languages, like in Greek, Tocharian, Latin, Baltic, right, and Avestan, and also Armenian. Yeah, so this is a very productive and widely attested in Indo-European languages, and then I kind of summarized the. Okay, yeah, yeah, great. So I have summarized the forms in Sanskrit, right? And in Sanskrit, we have māna, āna, ina, and mina. Yeah. And ina, and this one, mina, is attested in Middle Indic, and pay attention in Eastern Middle Indic. Because in Western Middle Indic, like in Pali, it's still māna. It's like in Sanskrit. Yeah. Okay. And now let's answer the question. So which one or which ones are older? the answer is this one and this one. Yeah. So these two and 4 are older. But older, I mean not māna, because older, I mean historically. So māna and ana are both attested in Rigveda, but what I mean by older is actually linguistically or historical linguistically, yeah. So linguistically and historically older, yeah. And why? So why? And why do we have so many different forms in other languages, right? Yeah. So let's come to the explanation. So for this part, we can actually use again use a section section in Goto, right? So in Goto, he tells us that actually the Proto-Indo-European form look like this one. Yeah. So let's start from the Proto-Indo-European form. So Proto-Indo-European form. Okay. So according to the theory now, this is actually the reconstructed form of the middle participle, right? And now let's check how can we get all these forms. So how can we get all these different forms from this single reconstructed form? Okay, so probably let's start with Greek. So Greek is very good. It provides us with important information about vowel. 是希腊语的话，它会告诉我们关于元音的一些重要信息，所以希腊语非常重要。So let's start with Greek. So in Greek, it's called. So probably let's check it. So let's start from Greek. So Greek, we have meno, right? So with Greek, we know this is for sure, no is for sure, and m is also for sure. So there's actually nothing difficult concerning the consonant, right? So consonant, certain, yeah. So there's actually no difficulty for consonants. All the other languages, like Tocharian, mane, and Latin, mh, and also in Old Prussian, we have māna, and also in Sanskrit, we also have māna, right? So these two consonants is pretty sure, we know. But the problem is, and also the last consonant, last vowel is also for sure. In Latin and also in Greek, we know that the final vowel is O. So the difficulty, the only difficulty lies in the vowel between M and N, right? So first thought, we have in Greek called mενος. So probably PIE should be meno, right? So this is a very simple guess, right? So Greek, so because in Greek, because this is because, yeah, because PIE turns into Greek e. So this is we know from all the other examples. So this is probably a first guess, but is this possible? No, it's not possible, because from meno, we cannot get ana, we cannot get māna, right? So, sorry. So if we have mh₁no, so what should the Sanskrit form look like? It should be māna, right? Right. And there's also nothing like mh₁no or right. So it couldn't be wrong. It couldn't be correct. It must be wrong. Yeah. So this is wrong. Yeah. So this is false. Yeah. This is false. Okay. And then there's another possibility. Greek air goes back to a laryngeal. So another possibility is Indo-European H1. I think you all know that H1 goes back, H1 becomes air between consonants. Sorry. So this is a symbol between consonants in Greek. Yeah. So H1 becomes a consonant. H1 between consonants turns into an air in Greek. So this is the second possibility, and this possibility is actually the correct one. Yeah. Then let's come to the explanation why. So we know that this one is correct, and how can we get all the other forms? So as I explained, this one is earlier, so is this one. Yeah. But why? Let's come to the explanation. So this is the original form, right? And if we have a consonant stem, so if we have a stem ending in consonant, so stem ending in consonant, and remember this. Remember this one, a stem ending in consonant, right? So there's a special change, right? So for stem ending in consonant, we would expect, what should we expect for this result? So this is a consonant, and then you see, again, there's a lot of consonant, right? So what would happen? This M will become a vowel, right? And this result, what is the result of this one? So check the example of jump. So what is the participle? What is the PPP of Jan in Sanskrit? Jata or Jata? Yeah. Correct. Yeah, Jata. Yeah. There's no need to ask the question. Yeah. Why it is Jata? Because Jan goes back to a first laryngeal. Yeah. So actually, Jan is a set root. So Jan is a set root. And what is the meaning of set root? Set root means that there's a laryngeal hidden after this. And for this root, the original form should be Jan. Yeah, a laryngeal one. I mean, the form is a little bit, how to call this? A little bit anachronical. 就是anachronical. It's like, so I write it like this, but this is not the real precise way to write this. But I write this to show you that there's a laryngeal after this. Okay, so how can we build a PPP? So for PPP, we need a 0 grade, right? A 0 grade plus a tau, right? Okay, and then the 0 grade of this root looks like this one. You delete the vowel and then you put a tau. after this, right? And check it. There again, there are a lot of consonants, right? And you have to make this consonant into a vowel. So this is actually the PPP called mh₁no, and mh₁no becomes yata. Yeah. So just like this one, you have mh₁no, mh₁to. So these two things, plus a laryngeal one, plus a laryngeal one, should become a long A. So I highlight these two parts so you may know. Right? So highlight these parts so that you may know. Right? Yeah. So to long A. So and then again to long A. And no becomes a na in Sanskrit. So this is the correct, this is sound, this is lautgesetzlich. Lautgesetzlich. So lautgesetzlich means it is regular according to the sound law. Lautgesetzlich. So this is what I said. Ana is the older one, but pay attention. This is for the stem ending in consonant. But what about stem ending in vowel? Like in vowel, right? So vowel, we also have this no, right? Right? So this vowel and this no. So there's actually no difficulty because this is the vowel. So there's no difficulty, right? So this M will not become a consonant, will not become a vowel because this is a vowel. In this case, there are consonant, 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 or consonant, consonant. Yeah, that's not allowed. But in this case, this is a vowel, and then consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel. Yeah. So, and in this case, laryngeal between consonants will in Sanskrit becomes E, right? So this is so I write it here. Laryngeal between consonants becomes E. So like C, H, C will become C, E. So this is a regular sound change, and this is also the reason why it is called set root. This is also the reason why set or anit is called, yeah, because there's a E. There's an E, yeah. And then we know it should look like, so this is the result of na. Okay, but pay attention, this E can sometimes be lengthened. So this is E, right? But sometimes it can be long E. So just like the compare the nice verb in Sanskrit. So nice verb is called na and ni verb, right? So this ni goes back to laryngeal. So this we should write like this one. So this is the reason why in Goto it is written mi with either long or short. Yeah, this is the reason. So this one is also regular. Okay. So now I have answered the question in Sanskrit. Ana and mina are historically, linguistically older. Yeah. And then comes the question, why we have this one? Because this is kind of a mixture of these two. You get the point? So we have ana and we have mina, and then comes the mixture. So this is kind of a mixture of ana and mina. Yeah. Yeah. So the M is kind of is introduced before this R. Okay. And then how can we explain this one? Again, this is the mixture of these two. So you have ana and you have mina, and then comes the result of ina. Yeah. So again, these two are regular sound changes, but these two, 1 and 3, are secondary. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's move to the explanation of all these examples. So again, let's check it. So Sanskrit is done. Let's move to all these examples, right? So probably the Iranian material, yeah, it's more popular, but more popular does not mean more ancient, right? No. Yeah, 就是更流行不代表更正确，对吧？就这种逻辑是非常危险的，就是你这种逻辑就是一种如果大家就是怎么讲呢？就是所有就是更多人喜欢的就是更正确的，或者更多人选择的就是更正确的，这种逻辑是非常危险的，这种就会陷入叫什么呢？绝对的民主吗？还是什么之类的 ？Okay. So more popular does not mean more ancient. So it's completely two different things. Okay. 民粹主义嘛，OK，对，就是千万不要认为什么东西追求的人多就是正确的，好吧？我那个 I'm not going to talk about philosophy. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's move on first to Iranian, because Iranian is mostly kind of closest to Sanskrit, right? So Iranian is, I think this is the same. This is same explanation, right? So you have the explanation here. I don't need to explain this one. But what about this one? Na. Na. Because in Iranian, in Iranian, there's a sound change. Laryngeal disappears. Yeah. So this is a regular sound change in Iranian. So laryngeal disappears. So there's mh₁no. Yeah. This is mh₁no. Yeah. So this is pretty simple. So for Avestan, yeah. This is regular sound change, right? And then probably in Latin, it's also probably the same. The laryngeal can disappear, but probably first not, but secondarily it is disappeared. It disappeared, right? Yeah. And in Tocharian, because the laryngeal becomes R in Tocharian, and then we have mane and mh₁. And this is the Eastern Tocharian form. The R is due to the accent. So the accent in Tocharian A is different from Tocharian B. Yeah. Okay. So this is the reason in Tocharian mh₁no. Yeah. Okay. And in Baltic, it's I'm not sure about the Baltic form, but we can talk about it later. Yeah. Because I also plan to offer introductory course to Baltic languages like Lithuanian, Latvian, and also Old Prussian. Okay, so this is basically a little bit complicated explanation for the middle participle. Yeah. So probably we can read some Rigveda. course Rigveda verses. Okay. 这个明白吗？就是我解释的，你们能明白吗？ Is it clear? Can you understand the explanation? It's a little bit complicated, but I hope you can understand the logic. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the reading. Let's read. Great. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Okay, so let's, before we finish, let's read some Vedic verses. So again, this is from the fourth mandala. The reason why I choose fourth mandala is because fourth mandala is translated by Goto. Yeah? So fourth mandala is translated by Goto. Yeah, so this is the reason why I want to read fourth mandala. So I really trust the middle. Active is like this one. Active is pretty simple. Yeah. So this is active. Active is pretty simple. No such big difference. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's read it. Yastra itmam jabarat sishvidano. Check it, sishvidano. We have the middle participle. Okay, and then murdanam va tatapate tuvaya buvas tasya svata vam payuh Agni. Yeah, this is a little bit weird, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to explain this. Yeah. And Vishvasmat sim agayatah urusha. Okay. Probably we can first check the translation. So whoever will bear fuel to you, though sweating, or will scorch his head in serving you, for him you will become a self-powered protector. Agni, make for him wide protection from everyone who bears malice. Yeah. Okay. And yes, and this, yeah. And the German translation, wer Brennholz für dich in Schweiz getragen haben wird, oder seinen Kopf deinetwegen heiß gemacht haben wird, dessen Hüter wirst du aus deiner eigenen Kraft werden, du Agni, von jedem Übels anstiftende Befreier ihn. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is, as you can see, this is a clause, 这是一个从句, right? This is a relative clause introduced by the relative pronoun yas, right? Okay, so this corresponds to where, right? So I will base the explanation on the German translation because I prefer the German. Yeah. Okay, so ja is where, so it's and at the same time you can also learn a little bit German, right? Okay, so 一箭双雕, you can do both. Yeah, it's great. So ja is where, and ta is te. So it's due to sandhi. I think you know the sandhi, right? So originally it's so yes, relative pronoun, right? And third person singular, active. Oh no, third person singular nominative. Okay. So should I write it? Singular nominative, right? Okay. and ta from te, and it's actually 2 or 4. I think it's genitive. And then itman. Itman means Bremdholz. Yeah. So itman is from itma, right? So itma means Bremdholz. Yeah. Okay. 中文就是柴火了，就是wood. So in German it's called Brennholz. Brenn is burn. Holz is wood. So wood for burning. Yeah, Brennholz. Yeah. Okay. And then Jabarat. Yeah. So this is comes from the I think it's wait a minute. I think it's subjunctive. Wait a minute. Yeah. I think it's probably subjunctive. Jabarat. Yeah. So it's from the perfect subjunctive. Perfect subjunctive of bar. Yeah. Okay. So perfect haben, getragen. Subjunctive wird. So the translation, the German translation is precise. Yeah. Because in English, you will not find the, it's just like, in English, it look like, how to say that? It look like a future, right? Yeah. Or a normal subjunctive. But in German, it is getragen haben wird. Okay. So it's actually perfect subjunctive bar. And you can find it, so, yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, I think it's correct. Yeah, Jabarat. Yeah, perfect subjunctive. Getragen haben wird. Yeah, okay. And then she, shvi, dano. So it's from again. It is the middle participle, right? So I copy it here. Yeah. And I will explain first the meaning, and then I will explain the etymology and also the formation. Yeah. So shishvidana, again, it is reduplicated and also the middle participle, right? And comes from the root sweet, yeah, or sweet. So it's, and this sweet is actually cognate with sweat. So 流汗, so sweating, yeah, sweat, yeah. So what is and then let's check the etymology. So schwit, wait a minute. Yeah. You see, it's perfect, called Shishvi Dana, Schwitzen. And then you can find the, in Avestan, it's called Hvisat, right? And also like in Germanic languages and also in Latin and also in Greek. So it's a very widely attested Indo-European word called schwitzen, sweat. Yeah. Okay, it's also perfect. Yeah. And then for the bar, we can also check it. Bar, the reduplication is a little bit weird. Yeah. Let's check it. Yeah, so you can see for bar, the reduplication is ja-bara. Yeah, so reduplication is a little bit weird with ja, not bhe. originally we should expect like something like this, right? So bar means target, yeah, means carry, right? And we can build a simple semantic bharati. So this is simple semantic, but we can also build how to say that, reduplicated present. So again, this is something I have mentioned to you. The word bar is really special. This is a very special word, bar, because bar has suppletion in Greek, Latin, Tocharian, yeah, at least in these three different languages. Because bar, the how to say that? Bar has actually continuous or durative. No, bar does not have a durative. It needs the reduplicated, so it actually the original actions art is punctual. Punctual. So the action bar is actually a punctual meaning. But how can we understand this? Carry, bring. So in Chinese, so probably I should, so in English, it means actually bring something to some place. So it's kind of bring something somewhere. So it's something like this. So you deliver something, you kind of deliver. Yeah, you kind of deliver something. So it's kind of a punctual action. So it's punctual action, yeah. Like bring something somewhere, deliver. It's not, it does not mean you put something on your back and walking, yeah. It's not like this. 就是这个意思可能是把东西带到一个地方，就是并不是你背这个东西，因为你背这个东西走路，这事实上是一个持续性的动作，对不对？但它事实上表示的是你把一个东西带到一个地方，就是大概是这样的意思。所以呢 ，this is a reason why we have suppletion in Greek, Latin, and Tocharian, because it's a punctual action, and therefore the present, there's the root present is not allowed. So it is punctual, right? So punctual, which means root present is not allowed. Not allowed. You need to, and if root arrow is if root present is not allowed, what should we do? There are two how to say, two options. The first one, you build a reduplicated. You build a reduplicated, like in Chinese, 蹦蹦跳跳, right? So you reduplicate it, yeah. And then the second one is to build a semantic power, yeah. And then this goes back to something I mentioned to you last time, or not really last time, that conjunctive or subjunctive. What is the real, how to say that? The real meaning of subjunctive. Subjunctive is actually a special class of a present, right? So this is actually semantic, right? Semantic, simple semantic. This is simple semantic with the a vowel or a o, right? With different semantic vowels, right? And subjunctive again is also with this one. So this is actually identical. There's a simple semantic present. Simple semantic present and subjunctive. And then you see this simple semantic present or subjunctive can change the aspect or change the aspect or actions art. Yeah. So I think you can understand this. 就能明白吗？这里我想说的问题就是这是一个顺时动词，所以呢，你不能够直接用 root present， 你需要用一个其他的办法。那有哪些方法呢？一种是重叠一下，像蹦蹦跳跳那样。那还有一种是中文不太能理解的，就是它有一种 semantic present， 那这种 semantic present 是 all 这样的 semantic， 就有一个主题原因在那里。然后这种 all 的话，事实上本质上是和 subjunctive 是一致的，所以这就是为什么在有一些语言当中，比如说 Tocharian，会存在虚拟式的suppletion， 就是在虚拟式的时候，它会有一个词干的变化。Okay, so this is a little bit complicated, but if you can't remember, if you can't understand, it's okay. We can talk about it later. Yeah. So we will always talk about suppletion. Yeah. In Indo-European languages, it's a very important phenomenon. Okay. And then. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 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 So then. So this is actually the first verse. So shishva dano, it's a middle participle, means sweating, sweating, but sweating, it's a middle participle. So it means kind of in a state, right? So in Schweiz, in sweat or with sweat, right? And then this is subjunctive, perfect. Okay, and why the reduplication is bar, and we will talk about it later. We will talk about it probably next time. So why the reduplication is ja, not the. Yeah. So we would always expect the reduplication is labia, right? But this is a special case. Yeah, we will talk about it in next Sanskrit class. So today we just mentioned these several words, and probably this itman is cognate with Avestan, iceman. Yeah. So it's actually cognate with Avestan, Western Asman, and this Asman goes back also to Indo-European root. It's called ed in Sanskrit. So let's check the Sanskrit dictionary. So this is actually the root called edre, and this edre, edre becomes sir in Avestan, and it is also cognate with Greek called isos. And why do we know it is a second laryngeal? Because in Greek it's alpha. So in Greek it's called isos, right? Isos, sorry. And this ice is cognate with Sanskrit edre. And this is the reason why we know so Greek R goes back to the second laryngeal, right? Second laryngeal. This is the reason why. And also in Greek, voiced dental to voiceless dental. So this is voiceless, And in Sanskrit, so this is Sanskrit. So, yeah. Okay. And Sanskrit air goes back to I. Yeah. Sanskrit air goes back to I. R plus E. Yeah. So why? So this is the reason why we have the root as yeah. Okay. So this is for this part. Yeah. Okay. Before we stop, I make a very brief summary. So the summary is pretty simple. Yeah. So we talk about the participle today. The Sanskrit participle, the active is called ant or ut, and the different forms is due to in different phonological context. So actually before, so after consonants, nt will become at. So this is a regular sound change. And then we come to the discussion of the middle participle, which is a little bit complicated. In Sanskrit, we have māna and ana, and this middle participle is also preserved in other Indo-European languages. Like in Greek, we have meno. In Tocharian, we have māna, mane, and mh₁no. In Latin, we have no. And in Old Prussian, we have māna. And Iranian, there's also ana and mna. And Armenian also as well. And to explain this, we actually start from the Greek material, right? So Greek is example for the information concerning vowel. So in Greek, we have meno. It means that either it goes back to meno directly or a first laryngeal. So this air is most important, air. So air either to simply air or the first laryngeal. But with air, with meno, Sanskrit form cannot be explained. So the only possibility is this one, laryngeal one. And then based on this phenomena, based on this reconstruction, this is a reconstruction, mh₁no, and we can explain the Sanskrit forms. So the four Sanskrit forms or four Indic forms, because this one is not Sanskrit, it's Middle Indic. We know ana and mina are historically older, yeah, linguistically older. And then we can also explain all the other forms. Like in Avestan, the laryngeal between consonants disappears. So we have mna, yeah, and Tocharian, laryngeal between consonants become the r, yeah, okay. And then we read one sentence, this one in Rigveda, and next time we're going to explain the perfect forms. Yeah. Okay, so this is everything for today, and thank you very much for your attention until now. Yeah, and see you next time. Probably some of you will come to the Tocharian class. Okay, yeah, have a nice weekend and enjoy the evening. Enjoy the rest of the day. You're welcome.不客气，不客气。OK，那大家好好休息，周末愉快。OK，好，那再见，拜拜。